Hi, welcome to another video here on my channel. My name is Michelle. If you're new here, if you're not, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about, well, something I wasn't planning on showing you this week, but I sort of feel like it came into my life and now I should share it. And that is me basically making a eye patch. And the reason why I'm making an eye patch is because one of my daughters, she has a eye which is a little bit weaker than the other one, and so she needs to practice approximately 2 hours a day to cover that one eye that is strong, and then let the weaker eye practice to and become stronger, hopefully. So that's the goal. So I thought I could probably crochet a little eye patch that she can attach to her glasses. So I did some Google searches as well, and there's a lot of good patterns out there, but I made this one, and I will show you how you would basically wear it. It would be like attached, and this one can be either eye, so it's like not to either left or right. And then basically you're going in here with your eyeglasses and here through this as well. And that will create this where you can bend it in like that. And I thought, well, if I needed a pattern like this, probably other people might be interested in wanting to see it and maybe make it themselves. So I understand this might not be for everyone, but I will share how I made mine. I thought if I'm making it, I should share it, So I used obviously just a cotton yarn, so something that shouldn't be too itchy or anything like that. And I think this is also a recycled cotton yarn, and I used a 3mm crochet hook because I wanted it to also be a bit dense when using it. And I actually I just made something like this, a little template, and it's like 5.5 centimeters wide and then 6.5 centimeters on this side. And yes, I'm from Sweden, so we use centimeters, not inches, and such like that. And then I also did this, I think again, did I say, yeah, so 5.5 centimeters on this side and then 6.5 centimeters on that side. And then here we have, again, 5.5 centimeters that way, but then 12 centimeters that way, so double almost the size. And here's the idea where I thought we could add one of those little things. Technically, you could basically make a hole there and a hole there, and then you could just use the whole thing as like where it's holding it in place. But I felt like it was just easy to just add that instead of thinking how to make that pocket. And so if you want to see how I made this little eye patch, then please continue watching this video or save it for later if you think you'll need it in the future. Otherwise, yes, let's start this. I guess I would call it a tutorial. So welcome, and let's go. Okay, so we will start with 21 chain stitches before we're gonna turn and then start working in the back loop, I guess, of these stitches. Not on the front loop, not on the back loop, but in the back of it, basically. But you can just do as you normally do. This is just how I prefer to do it. As you can see, I go in the thread in the back of the stitches instead of any of the two I guess, on the other side. And then I just work myself up to the end of this row. And like I said, this is now me doing 20 single crochets and then ending this row with a chain stitch before turning again. So we're working flat on this oval shape. And I'm speeding up the pace here so that you don't need to wait for me too long. And here we go. And now we're on the end here. And sorry for going off camera a little bit here, but there we go. And then one chain stitch and turn. So now we're going to start with our increases. So we'll increase in the first one and two, and then we will do 18 single crochets all the way to the end of this row, and in the very end stitch we're going to increase once more, so we get that balanced increases in on the both sides, basically. And that will make us or give us 23 stitches in total if we also include the chain stitch, which we used to turn or get us up to that next row. And there we go. And now increase again, 2, and then we make 20 single crochets before increasing again in the last stitch, and then chain stitch and turn. So this is how we are working ourselves into that oval shape. Going a bit fast here again, so we don't need to wait for me, but you can always pause the video if you feel like you want to keep up. There we go, coming to the end here and doing an increase again in this one. Chain stitch, turn. And there we go, we're starting to build ourselves up here. Increase again, 1 and 2, and then we're making 22 single crochets before we increase and chain stitch and turn. So it's a pretty fast little project and also very useful if you're in need of one eye patch. So here we go, all the way to the end. Increase in the very last stitch here. There we go, and then we make a chain stitch and turn. And there you have it. Now we're just going to build a little bit on that height. So we basically are just going to do 26 single crochets and then a chain stitch and turn for about 5 rows, and before we're starting to decrease. So I will do a bit of that off camera so you don't have to wait for me too long. So if you want to, you can always pause. But here is me now reaching that last row of those 5 ones where we just built on that height or length. So now here you can see me decreasing, so I'm basically just going in on that first loop closest to you, and then through the other first loop closest to us, and then get some yarn there, pull through, and then can just make my regular single crochet. And then now I'm just going to continue making 22 single crochets all the way to the end, and when you have 2 stitches left, you're going to decrease on those 2 again. So now we're just basically walking backwards, if you will. So we're speeding up it a little bit again. And I'm sorry if I go a little off camera there when it's time to decrease. It's just sometimes you need to like see it very close, and I guess the camera is a little bit in the way when I'm trying to see it here, but as you can see, we do 1 chain stitch and turn, and then we again decrease. So again, just those 2 loops closest to you from those first 2 stitches before picking up or getting some yarn and pull through, and then just a regular stitch, single crochet, and then just single crochets all the way to the end of this row until we have 2 stitches left, which we will use to decrease. And then you will slowly see how our oval shape is shaping up or taking form. So here we go again, decreasing, and then chain 1 and then turn. And then 1 last decrease here. There we go, and single crochets all the way until we have 2 stitches left, and then we'll decrease and then chain 1, and you'll see what we will have here. And I think now we're at the end here, and there you have the shape. And so now we are actually going to basically do single crochets all the way around, and it's going to be approximately 62 single crochets, just continuing instead of turning this time. So we're going to just continue working ourselves around here, and that will also make that oval shape a bit more visible in my opinion. But I'm just here putting my single crochets where I feel like it fits without it being too many, because you do want it to be a pretty flat piece. If you do too many, or if you accidentally increase somewhere, you will have a little bit of a well, it will twist or it will fold on those places. So try to just keep the shape and just work all the way around. And again, I'm having 62 single crochets, but it's not a big deal if it's a 64 or a 61 or 60, depending on how it looks for you. So try and error, as they say. But you will see straight away after this that this will make the edge or the sides there a little bit more rounder. I also take this opportunity to basically hide the first strand of yarn that I started with, so I don't have to sew that in later. This will just save me a little bit of time. And here I am trying to not be off camera again, but it's not as easy sometimes as it looks. Here we go. Last row, and then we'll reach all the way around. And if you can see a little bit of that tail peeking out there in the back, I will just cut that short later and that will disappear. Here we go, and I just cut off the yarn, and then I'm trying to just basically hide it or make it go into that side edge there so it's not as visible. But here you go, and as you can see, that made it look much more neater and nicer. So we'll basically do the same thing with our small oval piece as well. It's the same amount of increases, same amount of decreases. So here you will see me with a very speed up version making that small oval piece as well. So I'm not going to go into details on every row here, but I want you to at least see how it takes shape. So we will keep working with our single crochets and increases and decreases on both sides, and then we will crochet around it approximately 40 single crochets. But again, it's not a big deal if it's 42, 43, or maybe even 38, depending on how how's your tension and everything. And this one obviously goes faster to make compared to the big one. And I want also you to know that if you feel like this is a bit too wide, this whole eye patch, you can obviously just do less of those rows in the middle, which will give you a much more thinner eye patch, for example. So, and depending on what kind of yarn you use, you will obviously have a different size as well. And I would recommend, though, to not use any other yarns such as wool or maybe even acrylic, because I don't want it to be itchy, and also I don't want you to have any plastic around your sensitive eyes because it's better than to use something that is more natural. But maybe bamboo could be an alternative if you don't want to use cotton or something like that, but you don't want a yarn that is too frizzy or can itch, because that can irritate the skin even around the eye. So we want to avoid that. But as much cotton or bamboo or other natural fiber that is not so itchy would be my recommendation. And then you can always play around with size or like the amount of increases, the amount of rows that you want to make. My daughter has tried this eye patch a few times now, and I think that it is very smooth to just basically put on her glasses and then take off. And in the beginning, she was not so comfortable because obviously it was a new thing, but after 1 or 2 days, she felt that it was pretty easy to use it, and that's why I think it's a good recommendation to share this, or it's a good idea to share this pattern with you guys. And I think this size actually would work really well both for an adult and a kid. I feel like it's pretty good in size, actually. It's a very good middle size. But that is obviously up to you to try. So here you can see me building the whole oval up. We're getting close to finishing. Obviously, also, if you don't want this kind of thicker fabric and such, you can obviously use just, you can just sew one and use actual fabric, not maybe this crocheted piece, if you will, and that could also give a more softer textile and texture around the eye as well. But I think it was fun to be able to create something out of yarn as usual. I think many other crocheters or knitters out there think the same. I can guess that if you are a knitter, by the way, I think that maybe if you would knit this, I think that it will be obviously a much thinner fabric piece that you would end up with, which might be actually also very nice towards the eye. But yeah, I haven't tried that out. Obviously, you might have to change a few things, change a few amount of stitches to make it work or become the size that you want. But otherwise, yeah, I think this is working out very well, and especially when we're only talking about 2 hours a day when practicing that weaker eye and making it stronger. So this has worked very good so far. So now you can see me here working around this small oval piece just to give that more better finish look, nicer look in the end, and make it more rounder. And I will later just show you as a little in a information box here how I went about assembling everything and sewing it all together, but I will not show you how I sewed everything together just because I felt that it was easier to do that off camera. But it is basically just attaching it on the top and bottom of this small oval piece, and then you're just sewing that little ribbon on the side to the side as well. But I will show you at least where I will attach or sew things together, but I will do it off camera. Just a little heads up there. And there you go, and just don't forget to sew in all these loose strands that you have as well, because we don't want them to irritate any eyes or any skin there as well. So there you have it, the big pieces that we will need, and this is basically how it will look. And then I will show you, I chose to use a elastic band to the side there just to give me a little flexibility, but it could be something that is not elastic at all, because it really just something that is there tight as a little pocket. But here I show you where I will sew, so the up and the bottom, and then that on the side, and then you will have this kind of pocket for your your glasses and that's how it looks. I chose to put it on this way, but I guess you could also choose to put it on the other way around. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have your own little eye patch now and can use it the way you feel like you need to and want to. And again, I know this video was not for everyone, so I'm grateful if you've watched the full video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video as well. And don't forget to, as usual, subscribe if you want more videos like this. And also don't forget to like and comment if you have any other questions or any wishes for any future videos or future tutorials. Let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I hope I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!